Good morning, dear students. Today I am going to discuss with you chapter number 2 of macroeconomics. The title of the lesson is National Income Accounting. Before starting this lesson, I want to share with you one thing that in the chapter number 2, as per the NCERT syllabus, you are able to find the following concepts which are written in the index: meaning of macroeconomics, types of goods, end use classification of goods, concept of stock flow, investment, depreciation, difference between depreciation, capital loss and obsolescence, income method and precautions of income method, expenditure method with its precautions, problem of double counting, output method of measuring national income, circular flow of income, different phases of circular flow of income, GDP, real and nominal GDP, net factor income from abroad with its components, domestic territory of an economy, normal residents, and concepts of personal private income. Now the chapter starts from the meaning of macroeconomics. Dear students, in the class 11th you have studied about the meaning of microeconomics, but in class 12th you are able to study the meaning of macroeconomics. Basically, macro and microeconomics are two parts of economics which is made by Ragnar Frisch in 1933. Macroeconomics is that part of economics which studies economic problems, economic variables and economic relationship at the level of whole economy. Now I am telling the meaning of macroeconomics in depth in detail. The first line is macroeconomics is that part of economics. It means macroeconomics is a part of economics. As I am telling you, micro is another part of economics. So macro is a separate part, one branch of economics which studies. What it studies? It studies economic problems. What are economic problems? In class 11th you have studied the problems which arises due to scarcity of resources known as the economic problems. Now the next word is economic variables. What are the variables? Variables means the quantity whose value goes on changing. The value of whose goes on changing is known as the variables. Economic variables include demand, supply, price, production, consumption, income, expenditure. These all are the economic variables. And economic relationship means relationship between the different economic variables. When these three things, basically economic problems, economic variables and economic relationship, are studied at the level of whole economy, it is called macroeconomics. Now suppose the 1 mark question is asked, give examples of macroeconomics. Simply write macroeconomic examples are aggregate demand, aggregate supply, national income, output, employment, etc. Now the further NCERT starts types of goods. Now the first type of goods is consumption goods. These are those goods which is used by consumer to satisfy his wants directly. Consumption goods may be called consumer goods. Now consumer goods or consumption goods may be durable in nature. Durable use consumption goods are those goods which is used by consumer for a long period of time, maybe for 10 years, 15 years, up to 20 years, like car, television, radio, etc. Now the another example, another type of consumer good is non-durable consumer goods. These are those goods which is used by a consumer for a single act of consumption for single time. It means it cannot be used by a consumer again and again for consumption purpose, like milk, bread, chocolate, etc. Third type of consumption good is semi-durable consumer goods. These are those goods which is used by a consumer for a period of 1 year or slightly more than period of 1 year, like clothes, shoes, crockery, etc. Now the another type of the good is capital goods. These are those goods which is used by a producer for further production of other goods. Means capital goods cannot be consumed by a consumer, rather they are used by a producer. The basic difference between consumer good and capital good is Consumer goods are used by consumer for consumption purpose, whereas capital goods are used by a producer for further production. Now, capital goods are those fixed assets of the producer which he use again and again in the production process. Now, what are these things which is used by a producer for further production of other goods? These goods may be machinery, plant, tools which is used by a producer for making other goods. Next type of the goods is producer goods. These are those goods which is used by a producer for further production of other goods. Now the question arises, what is difference between consumer goods and producer goods? And what is difference between capital goods and producer goods? Basically, capital goods are different from producer goods. They are different from producer goods in the sense producer goods are used by a producer only one time in the production process. It is not the fixed assets of the producer. It is not used by a producer again and again in the production process. Whereas the producer goods are only one time use goods by a producer for the production of other goods. Now the another type is final goods. Now final goods are different from intermediate goods, but try to understand the meaning of final goods. These are those goods which are used either for final consumption purpose or final investment purpose. It includes final consumer goods and final production goods. Means final goods are not for resale purpose. These are completely prepared goods which can be used by a producer or consumer. These goods directly used by a consumer. These are not remanufactured, recycled, resold in the market. And the basic difference between final goods and intermediate goods is final goods we cannot add value to the final goods, and final goods are included in the estimation of national income. Let's explain with the help of an example. Suppose cotton and cloth are two commodities. Sugar and sugarcane are two different commodities. Out of these, sugar and sugarcane means out of sugar and sugarcane is a intermediate commodity, sugar is a final commodity. Now why sugarcane is intermediate commodity and sugar is a final commodity? Because with the help of sugarcane we prepare sugar, and value can be added in the sugarcane with the help of machinery, plant and equipments. So sugar is a final commodity, sugarcane is the intermediate commodity. Cloth is a intermediate commodity, cloth is a final commodity, and cotton is a intermediate commodity. Next is the intermediate goods. Intermediate goods are those goods which are used either for resale purpose or for further production of other goods. Now the example of intermediate good is milk used by tea shop for selling tea, or used by sugarcane a sugar mill, or used by cotton by a cotton textile mill. Now question arises, which commodity is a intermediate commodity and which commodity is a final commodity? Keep in the mind, same commodity may be intermediate, same may be final, depends upon the last use of the commodity. It means it determines the nature and type of good, whether it is an intermediate or final. Use of the commodity will determine whether a commodity is an intermediate or whether a commodity is a final commodity. For example, if we purchases a car for personal use, for family use, it is a final commodity because it is not further generating income to us. Whereas the same car is purchased by a taxi operator, it become a intermediate commodity. Why it is an intermediate commodity? Because he is using this car for making further income or income generating process. Next concept is stock. What is stock? Stock means any quantity of an economic variable which is measured at a particular point of time. I am repeating the meaning of stock. Stock means the quantity which is measurable or which is measured at any particular point of time. Basically, stock has no time dimension and stock is a static concept. For example, the distance and speed are two different concepts. Out of speed and distance, distance is a stock concept because it is not changing. It is measured at a point of time. Wealth is a stock concept because money held by the people at a particular point of time. Water in a tank is a stock concept because it is measurable at a particular point of time. Now the flow. Flow is that quantity of an economic variable which is measured during a period of time. Means, for example, from 1st April to 30th April. In between this, the quantity which is measurable during a given period of time, it is called flow concept, and flow has time dimension. Flow is a dynamic concept. Stock is not a dynamic concept. Stock is a static concept. For example, investment, water in the stream are the example of flow variables. Next concept used in the chapter number 2 of macroeconomics is investment. Investment refers to net addition made to the stock of capital. In other words, you can say investment is net addition to the stock of capital goods. Now, what are the capital goods? Capital goods are the assets. Capital goods are the example of machinery. Capital goods are those goods which help in the further production of other goods, machinery, equipments. Now, when production capacity of any country, any nation, any economy increases, it is called investment. Investment are of the two types: net investment, gross investment. Now, both net investment and gross investment are differentiated through the depreciation. Depreciation means decrease in the value of fixed asset due to its regular use, and depreciation term is used to differentiate between gross investment and net investment. Now the another concept is depreciation. Depreciation means decrease in the value of fixed asset due to normal wear and tear due to regular use of machinery. It means depreciation means value of assets falls due to its regular use. But depreciation is different from capital loss and obsolescence. How depreciation is different from capital loss and obsolescence? In case of depreciation, value of asset decreases due to its regular use due to normal wear and tear of machinery. Whereas in the case of capital loss, value of asset fall not due to its regular use but due to unfavorable market conditions like sluggish situation in the market or depression situations in the market. Now, what is obsolescence? Obsolescence means decrease in the value of an asset due to coming of new technique in the market, due to coming of new technology in the market, due to recent inventions, innovations. For example, coming of LCD has reduced the value of color desktop TVs in the market or old TVs in the market. It is not that the value of TV or the worth of old color TV is declining, rather it is change in the demand of old TV due to coming of new technology in the market. It means depreciation, obsolescence and capital loss, all these three are totally different terms. Now, there are three different methods to calculate national income. In the chapter number 2, you are able to study different methods to calculate national income. Out of different methods to calculate national income, basically there are three methods in your syllabus. First is the income method. Now, what is the income method and how it is used to calculate national income of economy can be explained with the help of a lecture, with the help of this example. Whenever the question is discuss income method of measuring national income of an economy, simply starts writing your answer from the meaning. What is the meaning of income method? Income method is that method which measures national income from the side of payments. Now, whom this payment is made? This payment is made to the factors of production. As you studied in the class 11, there are four factors of production: land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship. Now, when these factors of production give their contribution to the production process, give their help to the producer in making the goods and services, payment is given to these factors of production for their contribution. This payment to the factors of production is given in the form of rent, wages, interest, profit. When we add this payment given to the factors of production, we find income method of calculating national income. Now, basically, income is classified into two parts. One is transfer income, another is factor income. Factor income, name clear, income to the factors of production for making their contribution in the production process. Transfer income is just transfer of income from one person to another person without making any contribution in the production process. Now, factor income is further classified into three parts. First classification of factor income is compensation of employees. Compensation of employees means whatever remuneration is paid to the employees for rendering their services, or compensation of employees means payment or remuneration is paid to the employees for taking their services. Now, the second is operating surplus. Operating surplus means income from property and entrepreneurship. Third one is mixed income of self-employed people, and fourth one is net factor income from abroad. Now we will discuss in detail compensation of employees and its subparts. Compensation of employees. Compensation of employees include wages and salary in cash and kind, social security contribution by employer on the behalf of employees, and retirement pension. Whereas the second part is operating surplus. Operating surplus includes income from property and entrepreneurship, and it includes rent, interest, royalty, and profit. Third part is basically the sub part of operating surplus. That is, there are four parts of operating surplus: rent, interest, royalty, profit. Profit is further subdivided into three parts: corporate tax, dividends, undistributed profits. Corporate tax means tax imposed by the government on the profits of corporations like Hindustan Petroleum Corporation. Tax by government on the profit of Hindustan Petroleum Corporation is an example of corporate tax. Dividend is that part of profit which is distributed among shareholders for making their contribution of capital in the business. Third is undistributed profits. Undistributed profits are also known as the retained earnings or reserves. It is that part of profit which is not distributed among the shareholders. Rather, this part of profit is kept by the firms for further expansion of the business. Fourth component of factor income is mixed income. Mixed income is income of self-employed people. It means the income which is earned by those people who have their own business, like income of a doctor, income of a factory owner, which have their own self business. Next is the net factor income from abroad. Net factor income from abroad is the difference between factor income received from abroad and factor income paid to abroad. Now, how to calculate national income by income method? In order to calculate national income by income method, we have to add all these four components. That is, we have to add compensation of employees, operating surplus, mixed income, and net factor income from abroad to find out the national income by income method.